Okay, I should start by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. I suppose we should start right at the beginning. How did you first fall in love with theatre?
Oh my God, what an amazing, good question. I was a really shy kid
Mm.
and very introverted, which a lot of people who know me are be like, "What?" Um, and my brother and sister, who are a bit older than me, they did a ton of theater, a ton of musicals, and I was always just enamored and wanting to be and do everything like they did. And so
Mm.
the very first musical I ever did, I played. I was the kid with the clarinet on the Wells Fargo wagon in Music Man, the musical.
Hmm.
I had no line, but they pulled me in on basically a rickshaw, which I guess was our little town version of the Wells Fargo. We had no horses, and I got to hold a clarinet, and
Mm.
everybody cheered for me, and that was it for me. And so
Mm.
yeah, that's probably where I originally fell in love with theater. But I always loved, and I continue to love the immediacy of it,
Mm.
the community of it, and the connection of it. And it's like I always says like we can go see a movie, you and me, right?
Mm.
And we can see it together. I can see it one day, you could see it the next, but we're gonna see the exact same thing. And what I love about theater is if we go to see a show together and you're in one mood and I'm in another mood, we may
Hmm.
see it differently, but you could
Exactly.
see a completely different night and something is slightly this way or that way,
Mm.
and it's a whole different experience. That's what I love about it.
Yeah. And obviously then you sort of transitioned to sort of writing and sort of more behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously before we started recording, we were talking about your books and your writing. So how did you get into writing your own books? How did that journey start for you?
Oh God, it was the middle of the lockdown, and
Mm.
I was fortunate because my job let us work from home. We transitioned very quickly. I was working in television back in Los Angeles. I lived in Santa Barbara. I used to make the drive down there, live in LA 4 days a week. I was home on the weekends, and it's about a 90-minute difference, and
Mm.
89 miles. What do you want to make that for? And whatever the math is. And then I just came up with this idea one day, and I've come up with so many ideas, and so many of my ideas I'm like, is it a screenplay, is it a play, is it
Mm.
live, is it this? And then I thought, no, this one is a book. And I wrote a book in 2016 when my father was dying, and I wrote it. I did about 56,000 words, and that was about as much as I could do with that, and then I put it
Mm.
away. And so then this one, I was just like, well, let's see what happens. And I
Mm.
started typing a cozy murder mystery with no idea who the killer was. And I sort of figured it out halfway through.
Mm.
And as many writers will agree with me on, is you go back, especially in a mystery like a couple, you got to go back now and
Hmm.
start planting the seeds and all that stuff. And that's where it started. But the
Mm.
great thing about it, much like so many things in life, is no one could tell me no. The only person telling me no was me.
Mm.
I'm the one stopping myself from sitting down and doing it.
Mm. Obviously, you mentioned there you had to decide whether it was a novel or a screenplay. So what's the difference then in terms of writing?
Oh, wow. That's great. So it's funny because the structure is so different.
Mm.
The great thing about writing a novel is you never have to sit down and start thinking about when I'm writing books, I don't really think about the reader.
Mm.
Respectfully, I say that.
Hmm.
But when I write a screenplay, I'm thinking about who's going to buy this and who will star in it and all those things you start thinking about. And I also only has a three-act structure that
Hmm.
has to, we have to hit our conflict around page 2930.
Hmm.
Our second our first and second, our second conflict and resolution of the first conflict around 60, 65. Then we
Mm.
got to wrap it up. With the novel, you can do whatever you want. You
Mm.
can start right away with a dead body like I do, or in a screenplay, you got to sort of work your way up to it.
Mm.
It's just a different it's two different.
Mm. Oh, amazing. So when you
Yeah.
said that you started writing your first book, so was that the Dog Walking Detective series? Was that your
That's
first? So where did that idea come from?
Oh my God, we were watching those ridiculous Hallmark movies, those Christmas movies. You guys have them here too.
Hmm.
Back in Santa Barbara, California, this was probably 4 years ago, and it was just so ridiculous. And I turned to my husband and I said, "You know what this Christmas movie needs?" And he looked right at me. He goes, "What?" And I go, "A murder." And we both started laughing. And then I thought about it. I thought this would be kind of funny if somebody wrote like a 55 plus community where they're all kind of kooky characters, but then there's a murder, but then I wanted to give it a spin. So I created a dead dog narrator. So my
Hmm.
main couple's dog has died, but he never finds the Rainbow Bridge. And he is your narrator and he comments on everything. Yeah. So I mean, it just became fun. So my books are a little lighter.
Hmm.
Um, no blood, no guts. I did have a stabbing. We didn't see it. He was already stabbed in the back.
Hmm.
That's the whole thing about a cozy is you want a cozy to feel like a nice beach read, something you'd
Yeah.
go to, Brighton.
Hmm.
See there, look, I'm in the UK.
And obviously, the most recent book that you've written is Season Slayings.
Yes, so that's the one.
So where did that sort of come from, and where did that idea? Because that's got quite a strange sort of setup. I read when doing my research.
Well, I have a plan for this to be a six-book series. They
Hmm.
all take place at a holiday. The first book is basically in the United States, would be July 4th, Independence Day. Second book took place in Halloween. This book, the present one, Season Slaying, takes place at Christmas. The next one I already finished. That one's Valentine's Day. Then we go
Mm.
to Mother's Day, and then we're going to go back to July 4th. So we're going to go for 1 year. So I keep the story in a 1 year
Mm.
circle, which is kind of hilarious because they're living in a 55 plus community and all these people keep getting murdered, which is like, would you really want to stay living in that community? Who's buying a house here is the question. But
It
but
is
I
like
was
those TV shows when
right.
someone comes wherever the person goes. There's always a murder. You think they'd like move out or relocate, but everyone stays there.
I swear to God. So remember the show Murder She Wrote with Angela
Yep,
Lansbury?
that's exactly what I was talking about.
My mom's favorite show. My mom's favorite show, and I'm old enough to tell you, we used to sit. She had a little black and white TV in the kitchen with a color one in the living room, and she would sit at dinner on a Sunday night, and she'd make dinner, and we'd watch Murder She Wrote, and my dad would elbow me, and my dad goes, "You know who has the hardest job in this town?" I said, "Who, Dad?" He goes, "Whoever has to go to the Welcome to Cabot Cove sign and paint over each week population count. You know, it always says population. He's
Hmm.
like always has to lower that by about one or two people." But that is the thing is like I think that people want that. They
Mm.
want to be able to solve an issue. Look, Agatha Christie
Hmm.
killed it for how long, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
that's because people wanted to be part of something dangerous and
Mm.
exciting and police oriented, but also safe, from the
Mm.
comfort of their couch
Mm.
or coffee shop or wherever the hell they're reading.
Mm. And obviously, moving on to something slightly different, because I know you are a jack of all trades and you do lots and lots of stuff, but we are here to talk about Slideshow in Living Color.
Yes.
So, where
Yes.
did that idea originate? How did it start?
Oh my God, this is amazing. So when I was about 5, 6 years old, we had a slide projector
Hmm.
and we were not a very rich family. My dad on a Saturday night would take out the slide projector, light it up with all these slides, real
Mm.
slides, and he'd click through and tell us stories about our family. A lot of stories we already knew, but he'd like make stuff up and make us laugh and all this stuff. And then in 2004, I was working. I had an office and I was working at NBC Universal. This was
Wow.
in Burbank, California. This was my dream job. I'm going to tell everybody out there. It was 2 weeks of a dream and 2 years of absolute hell.
Mm.
I never want to work there again. If they're listening right now, hey, hi everybody. I'm sure it's different people now. It
Mm.
was not a fun time. Um, they gave me an office that was in a literally had been a closet. So
Mm.
it didn't have it, I didn't have air. Like I had a closet and I
Mm.
had a big edit. I was editing, I had an Avid, I'm editing, and this machine heated up very hot
Mm.
room. I would leave the door open. And one day I was talking to a friend of mine. This is before we all texted everybody. I was on my cell phone, my little flip phone. And I was talking to a friend of mine and telling him I had this idea for this new show, Slideshow. And I just had to find a space. And I think I want to do what my dad used to do. And I was like, I think it'd be fun if we got storytellers together. I was just brainstorming.
Mm.
And literally 5 minutes later, I hang up and a guy knocks on my door. It's this guy named Paul who has the closet office next to me. Paul Kozlowski said, "You know, I have a theater, right?" And I said, "No." He goes, "I have a theater called the Faith Gallery in Hollywood, 4319 Melrose Avenue." That's how many
Mm.
times I went there. And he said, "Come on down, use my theater." He said, "We'll make a deal. I heard what you were pitching. This is perfect for my theater." We did one on a Friday night, 70 seats, sold the whole place out, did $10 seats, about 8 pounds, and free booze, gave away
Wow.
free wine. Yep, free wine and beer in the back. And we did a show. And then we never stopped. We did
Mm.
over 100 of them, first Friday of every month, sold out almost every show. We had celebrities start coming. We had a show called Little House on the Prairie. Did you guys
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
this
yeah, I know.
show? Okay. So the woman Allison Arngrim played Nellie, the mean girl.
Hmm.
She came and did our show. We had I worked on a show a long time ago. Reba McEntire had a show called Reba, and her
Hmm.
co-star was a woman named Melissa Peterman. Melissa came and did our show, and then we started getting poets, and we started getting slam poets, and we started getting musicians, and we started getting all sorts of people. And I basically I'm sort of a person who, if you talk to me and I hear you have a story that I believe an audience will connect to,
Hmm.
your story doesn't have to be funny. It just has to be real and truthful. And the images behind you have to come up and be real, and go
Hmm.
with it. And I'm going to really quickly on my phone show you an image that will be in Slideshow. And I'm going to show you why it's important for you to see this image. Okay, so when I tell people in my life that my aunt wore her wedding gown to other family events, they say to me, "Oh, Steve, you're exaggerating." And then when I show you the photo, that's my aunt right there in her
Wow.
wedding gown. So that's what makes Slideshow hilarious, is because
Hmm.
when I tell that story, oh, you laugh. When I put it up on the screen, the place goes bananas.
Hmm.
And then everyone and the great thing about Slideshow is it's interactive at times, because people will say, "Oh my God, we had that wallpaper,"
Hmm.
or "That looks." Someone will say something, yes, they'll yell something out, and then we start. Sometimes I
Hmm.
start talking to them. So Slideshow is just a really fun experience. It's unique. It's different. It's a great way to turn your phone off, gather around our little fire, which happens
Hmm.
to be a slide projector, and tell some stories and laugh together.
Hmm. And obviously, the name itself, Slideshow and Live in Color, is it a reference to the sketch show, the American sketch show?
No, actually, this is what I love, and I have these here too. So this is my niece made this. That's our little card that I
Um,
made. It's cute, right? It looks like a slide. I put the little thing. Really, the show is really only called Slideshow.
um,
I just love when people say in color or in Technicolor or in
mhm.
living color, because it gives that old
Yeah.
fashioned feeling to it. And
Um,
again, I'm giving visual references as like I'm on Slideshow right now. But I found this image, and it's very similar to the one that we used to use back in LA. And that's why I chose it, because I just love that idea that there's this nuclear family, and like the dad's just lounging, in his
hmm.
jacket and tie, and the daughter's hair is perfect, and there's mom, and she's just finished cleaning the house, and she's got the slides already. None of
Hmm.
that is real.
Yeah.
We all come from dysfunction, and that's
Hmm.
what's joyful.
Totally. So how do you, I know you said if you're chatting to people and they tell you a story, that's kind of you want them to share with an audience. But is that how you select your lineup of people to perform?
Yeah, it's a good
Oh.
question. Sometimes what we used to do in LA was we would come up with a theme.
Mm.
Holidays were always easy, holidays,
Yeah.
right? Valentine's Day, everyone has a good breakup story.
Yeah.
uh, Holidays, Christmas, Halloween. Other times I would challenge people. I would do one on like grief,
Mm.
death, mourning, and people would come in and they would tell real raw stories. I don't know that many people here because I only lived here since July. I have an
Mm.
American friend named Tess Rafferty. She's going to be in the show. I met this amazing Australian woman who is taking her one woman show she did in Edinburgh all over
Mm.
UK. So her name's Claudia Schneer, and she's coming to perform. I have a slam poet coming who I met again on LinkedIn. Her name is Savia Rocks. She's coming to do some poetry. And
Oh.
then randomly yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine, a new friend who I met at a theater mixer. And she said, "Oh, my friend Callahan would be amazing for this." So I texted Callahan. She called me. She was so funny. She pitched me her story and said, "Well, I have three stories, but I think the one I want to tell is the time that she got in a little, I don't want to ruin it. Basically, she got in an accident and her eyeball fell out of her head.
Whoa.
Right. And I said, okay, so because we're slideshow, she said, no, 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 no. She's like, I'm not going to show. She has the x-rays.
Hmm.
And she said, it's a hilarious story. Now, if someone says they were in a horrible accident and their eyeball fell, you just did
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
But you want to hear that story. You
Yeah.
can't tell me you don't want to hear that story. You want to cringe.
Mm.
So that's kind of how I do it. Is like if there's somebody unique, and I for the June show, I have a ukulele singer songwriter friend of mine
Mm.
who has traveled all around the world, and she moved here and she started taking ukulele lessons, and she invited us in December to a ukulele Christmas show.
Ah.
And I was like, ukulele singer slideshow? Yes, sure.
Yeah. And so they pick their own topics that they talk about. Obviously, they're tied together overall.
Yeah, and I try to give you a good mix. I try to give you a good mix of like, I mean, I think we all love a story that's grounded in something
Mm.
that we can relate to, and the only thing I ever ask is that please, like, especially stand-up comics.
Mm.
I did stand-up comedy a long time ago, but you heighten the comedy, right?
Yeah.
For laugh factor. But I think what we all really respond to is the connective
Mm.
elements of, like, again, using that example that, her eye fell out of her head. We've all had a really bad
Mm.
something happened to us, and you're like, oh, nope, I think she just topped us.
Yeah.
But I'd like to hear that story. So we'll see. I think moving forward, we will do some themes. But for this very first one, I just want it to be
Mm.
Slideshow makes their debut in the UK.
Mm. Oh, fantastic. Obviously, you mentioned then it is heading to the UK. So what was it like getting the announcement that you are heading to London?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. Wait, do we mean like me coming to London myself or the show coming?
The show, sorry.
Okay, let's not talk about me. I'm sick of me as well. Okay. Um, what was really great is that it's such a different style show, and it almost feels like an old Carol Burnett, or
Mm.
listen, look at me pat myself on the back, Carol Burnett, Donnie and Marie, like a
Mm.
variety show. Dean Martin, like, I'm throwing out old names, right? Um, and I think that there's a nostalgia factor that people really want right now. I
Mm.
think we all want to reconnect. It was really great with my Americans who did in Los Angeles, did do slideshow, posted immediately, telling all their friends,
Mm.
if you're in London, you have to go see this show. And then it's great as I have friends. I had a friend text me earlier saying, my friend is coming to your show. He lives 10 minutes from
Yeah.
Camden. And I told him he has to go see your show. So there is a really great, support to it. I'm I'm always curious because I'm American. I
Mm.
have a different set of comedy
Yeah.
standards,
Mm.
which some people connect to. I, of course, think British humor is hilarious, but also, like, as you know, is like Saturday Night Live
Hmm.
UK, right?
Yeah.
That debuted, and I watched a lot of the sketches, and there were names dropped and things were happening
Mm.
that I'm like, huh, because you know your
Mm.
people.
Yeah.
So I think what'll make it work as well is, like, I really want to. What I love about London, I love how many cultures are here, how many
Mm.
people are here, how different everybody is, and how we can share that. Which is why I love the fact that we have four guest stars. We have an American, a Canadian, a Brit, and an Australian,
Oh.
and I think that covers the gamut,
Mm.
for now.
Mm. And obviously, bringing it to London, as you said, there's sort of just different perspectives of comedy. Does that sort of add pressure to you as sort of the organizer of the event that there might be some things to work out?
That's excellent. That's an excellent question. Yes, I put way too much pressure on myself
Mm.
as a writer, producer, director, and then when I add in that I'm going to get up myself
Mm.
and bridge it and be part of it. Yes, but it's also 42 seats, everybody.
Hmm.
So I'm willing to roll the dice on 42 seats.
Yeah.
I was looking at spaces. I went and saw a bunch of spaces. When I walked into the Etc. Theater, I went, this is it. Like,
Mm.
immediately went, it's a little black box, but it's a nice size space.
Hmm.
And I asked the owner, who was wonderful. I said, how many seats? And he said 42. I'm like, that's perfect. That's a
Mm.
perfect way to start And respectfully, if we sell 25 seats, it's going to feel full,
Yeah.
and we're going to have just as good of a time. If I looked at one space, it was so funny, and I wanted to just see it,
Mm.
but it was a 400 seat auditorium.
Oh, wow.
And I know, right? And I'm like, look at me thinking I can sell a four. I can't
Mm.
sell 400 seats. I also don't want to take on that kind of thing.
Mm.
So I think that there's an intimacy that's going to happen here. And
Mm.
I want it to feel, Slideshow always feels like you're in somebody's old family room
Hmm.
with in the United States, we had the bad wood paneling.
Mm.
Maybe the green, we had it as a kid, we had bright green, like you wouldn't believe green, shag carpeting.
Mm.
That if you walked across too quickly and touched someone, you got a shock. Um,
Hmm.
so there is a little bit of pressure, but I also just take myself the pressure off as like you can't fail if you just go out there and give it a go.
Mm.
Not every joke is going to land, not every beat is going to happen. The whole thing, which I always talk about when I'm directing, is stay grounded, stay present.
Hmm.
Don't phone it in. If you phone it in, forget it.
Yeah.
That's the great thing that we love about live
Mm.
music, right? We love about live sporting events, live comedy. You can tell right away if somebody's phoning it in.
Hmm.
But when they're live and in it, and it feels like it's going back and forth, it's very exciting.
Mm. Totally. So we are coming to the end of my questions, but I have a couple more. So
Wait, I
especially,
have some questions for you. No, go ahead.
okay, that has happened before, and I.
I do wait. On top of everything else, I do a podcast. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to be so good right now of like, no, you're not in charge.
But yeah, I do have a couple more questions. So especially for your British audiences who are interested in the show but haven't heard a lot about it, what can they expect from Slideshow?
So we had an amazing thing happen a long time ago. The Los Angeles Times sent out a critic, a reviewer, and
Hmm.
I couldn't believe it because we had tried forever to get critics, and they're like, "You're not real theater. You're not real theater." We heard that a lot
Oh.
because we weren't. We were. I mean, we
Hmm.
we were avant-garde. We were underground. We were sketch comedy with
Hmm.
pictures, right? That's what they thought we were. So the LA Times sent out a reviewer who did not smile one time. And I
Oh.
was watching her and I was like, oh boy. When it was done, she came up to me and said, I would like to pitch to my editor to make this a full article. I don't want this to be a review.
Oh.
We wound up getting a full page like article
Yeah.
on us.
Wow.
And some of the words she used made me so happy. She called the show uncomfortable. She called the show anarchic, which I was like, I hope I'm safe. Anarchy. I love it.
Hmm.
She called it shockingly honest. She called it edgy entertainment. And she did say there are moments that are downright magical.
Hmm.
And that's what I can promise anybody who comes to see it. It's not what you're expecting. I think a lot of people look at it and they're ready to come and see us show some old family photos and tell these fun stories, and we go all over the
Hmm.
place.
Wow.
And so I think that's what we can promise you. I think we can promise you a good, funny, disturbing, um,
Hmm.
possibly raunchy, possibly wrong, possibly, like I said, a really community
Hmm.
connective experience.
Hmm. Totally. And so if people are interested and do want to get tickets, where can they stay up to date with you and the show?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me do this? I don't, please, like I know you're gonna put a link, right? There's gonna be a link.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I can put the links
Okay,
below.
good, great. Go to the Etc. Theater website. It's only £10 to come join
Mhm.
us. And it was really funny. In all the years we did a slideshow, 7 years, and we always only charged 10 American dollars. And for your £10, once the service fees get
Mhm.
chopped off, I'm going to take home a whopping £8, which is roughly still $10 a show. And I got to tell you, I think it'll be the most entertaining, fun 10
Hmm.
pounds you've gone and spent in a long time. We're doing a Sunday night at 7 p.m. I'm really curious to see what the energy is like
Mhm.
here. I know what it's like in the United States on a Sunday night.
Mhm.
You can get a really fun audience, but you can also get that audience
Yeah.
who's like, work is tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Mm.
So I'm excited to see what that is. And then we're going to try in June, we're going to try a 9 p.m. And
Mm.
again, I'm expecting a little more drunk and rowdy,
Yeah.
which is fine by me.
Mm. Totally. Totally. And so my final question is, what advice do you have for young creatives looking to do what you do?
The number one thing when I am asked this question, and I have done marketing for TV, and I've done plays, and I've written books, and I have a podcast, and I've done a bunch of different things. Travel.
Mm,
The number one thing I can say, and a lot of people go, "What? What is he talking about right now?" Travel. Go see the world. Go to places that will spark your artistic side,
hmm
even if it's for a day. Get out of your comfort zone. I can't tell you how many things we were on. We had lived here 2 weeks, and we were on a train in the tube. I don't remember which one it was. It was the
hmm
Jubilee or the, whichever the hell one it was,
Yeah.
Bakerloo. And we were coming up to a stop, and the lady came on and said, "The next stop is," and we always joke about it because it sounds like she's saying it sounds like she wants to say Sloane Square, but it sounds like she's saying Flem Square to me because she always goes Flem Square. Okay. But she did her part, and then a man's voice came on and he said, "Mind the gap," in that very.
Yeah, yeah,
So I turned to my husband and I just said, "Wouldn't it be funny if those were live people
yeah.
and they were a couple, and maybe he just got fired, but
Mm,
he just showed up to work anyway because he's like, I still get to say mind the gap." Now, this is stupid, right?
mm,
It's just a dumb idea, which I sat down and I started working with, and I wrote an entire something else that had nothing to do with it, but I added that part in.
mm.
And I tell you that because you never know where the spark is going to come from.
Mm,
And you're going to get stuck. I get stuck all the time. And the number one way I get unstuck is I go outside of my comfort zone. I go take a walk somewhere. We go on a trip,
mm,
all those things around the world. And I waited until I was 37 years old to first start traveling. And it's my biggest regret. I should have been
mm,
traveling when I was in my 20s. I know not everybody has the finances for it, but it's the best thing to put
mm.
on a credit card.
Yeah.
You'll never regret it. You'll
Mm,
never regret it. It's the
mm,
best thing to save up for. And the other thing is, and I say this a lot, if you like an idea that you have, there's a million other people out there who like it too.
yeah.
You don't ever question it. Don't ever
Mm,
question it. If you're into, white shelled tortoise turtles,
hmm
there's, trust me, 5 million other people who want to hear
Yeah.
about it. And
Mm,
you just
perfect.
have to figure out how you want to sell that story.
Amazing. So I started by saying, and I'll end the same way. Thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. As we said, I'll put the links in the comments below so people can scroll down and click away. And I am very excited because I am, I believe, booked in to see your show, one of the London shows. So I'm very excited to see that. I wish you the best of luck and I shall speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.